If budget was unlimited, you'd be ready for a new one.
Got the logic through the optic, we bless the vision, unite the topic. Round the world, perspectives up, emanate through the field of love. Circulating everything that's real, and terminating what had us stuck.
This is Costas Catalina sail. It's very old, but you know, for cruising, one of the benefits of being a cruiser is you don't have to get new sails all the time. As long as they're in one piece, they'll still work. So this is 6.5 ounce Dacron. They're all labeled. And this is the predominant weight cloth we use for cruising sails. We use a lot of this on your repair.
The difference in thickness is unreal.
This thing's so soft, it's hard to even fold up. Yeah, your sail is so old.
It's so thin.
And it's been tacked, you know, we've talked about that before. We're tacking back and forth, and as it drapes itself across the mast and the standing rigging, it starts wearing out. So this is an especially, a lot of old sails haven't been used a lot, and they don't get thin, they still get rotten and stuff, but I can tell this sail has many miles on it.
Looking at this sail compared to this sail, there's quite a stark difference.
Yeah, so your sail's been through, I don't know, it's probably 30 years old. Since it stays on, you know, rolled up on the boat, not down below, it gets exposed to dirt and wind and sun. And this blue part is supposed to keep the sun off. This is UV protective cloth. But even at some point, the sun gets to working on this, and it works on the threads especially. And you know, sails that stay exposed to the sun through what's called a roller furling need to probably come into some sail loft every 5 years or so to get the stitching redone. The stitching doesn't last as long as the UV protection. This machine is our heavy duty machine. We use it on big boat sails. Actually can sew through plywood. Never tried it, but that's what they say. The other machines are a little lighter duty, but this is 6.5 ounce Dacron. This is the predominant cloth we use for you know, big cruising sails. And I'm just gonna sew through a couple layers of this stuff. On mainsails, probably the inner end of the batten pocket, you know, away from the leech, because the batten's really trying to force itself through the sail. And the best thing you can do on mainsails is not let them flog, not let them shake. You know, most of the wearing out of sails has nothing to do with using them when they're full of air. It has to do with when they're shaking like a flag. You know, that 90% of the wear is through flogging them, raising them, lowering them, letting them flog while you're sailing or tacking. But when they're full of air, you're hardly doing any damage to them at all.
Do you know what size this foresail is?
We call a 150, and what those numbers mean is you have what's called a J measurement on a sailboat, and that's a measurement from the mast to the tack of the boat where the headstay intersects the tack. Fortunately, if you start with the biggest sail, like a 150 for your boat, by the time you furl it enough so it's good in heavy air, you know, all the way down to like a 100 or less, there's so much bulk in the front of the sail from all that furling. So most furling sails are not 150s. They have to be more of a compromise. They're more like 130s or 135s. Not quite as big for the light air, but when they're furled, you don't have to furl as much of it to be good in breeze.
Why someone should come see you versus go ordering a new sail? Because there's still a lot of opportunity to fix sails.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's way cheaper. Like I said earlier, for cruising sails, as long as they're in one piece, it's gonna work for you. You don't have to replace them as often as racers. But what I did to your sail, in addition to replacing Dacron where it was all ripped, is I ended up re-sewing almost all of the UV, because you know the sun will wear on the threads of the sun protection much quicker than wearing out the sun protection. So, you know, probably cruisers should, like I said, every few years probably got to take them down and maybe have a sailmaker do some re-stitching on the UV protection, because that's what happens first, is the UV protection starts pulling away from the body of the sail because the threads are getting worn out, the thread that's sewing the UV protection to the sail.
Thanks for taking care of me and getting me up and running, and I'll be using the sail for the 4 Points Regatta.
Nice.
So
I'll be out
hopefully-
there myself Friday.
Hopefully we can
Go kick their butts.
do something.